right, folks, our main story has finally arrived. And I know technically this is not the grand finale, but it deserves a proper introduction, a big introduction, especially when this is undeniably one of the biggest entertainment news of the year. Not just for movies, not just for TV shows, not even just for animation, but this is going to be a very significant moment for entertainment in 2023. And so, the moment we have been waiting for has finally arrived with the actors' strike. Yes, it is time that we shall get into the biggest news of the week, which is, of course, the actors' strike. Now, what happened was that on Thursday, SAG-AFTRA, the American Acting Union, has officially declared that they will be joining the Writers Guild of America to go on strike. Now, what happened was that for several weeks, SAG-AFTRA has been trying to go and discuss with the studios, which as a group, they are known as the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. You know, they have been trying to go in talks to go and have a brand new contract, to go and meet new demands, considering that we are in a new age of entertainment, especially when it comes to streaming and with the ever-evolving technology with what's been happening right now. So they have been promised to go and have like better wages for better job security and all that kind of stuff. But because they have failed to go and meet those demands, they have been left with no choice but to go on strike. And we even have a couple of quotes that I would like to read here from my source on Variety. The first one here coming from the chief negotiator of SAG-AFTRA, Duncan Crabtree, Ireland, in which he states, "Union members should withhold their labor until a fair contract can be achieved. They have left us with no alternatives." We have also gotten comments coming from the president of SAG-AFTRA, Fran Drescher, to which she states, "We are being victimized by a very greedy enterprise. At some point, you have to say, no, we're not going to take this anymore. You people are crazy. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in jeopardy. You cannot change the business model as much as it has been changed and not expect the contract to change too. I cannot believe how the studios pled poverty, that they are losing money left and right when they give hundreds of millions to their CEOs. It is disgusting. Shame on them." So that's pretty much the position that we are in. And yes, as I am recording this, the actors' strike is still going on right now. But you might be wondering, though, at this point, what is it that SAG-AFTRA is demanding? What is it that those 160,000 actors are demanding from all these studios? What is it that they want? Well, to make a long story short, what they are asking for is a little bit similar to what, or actually it is very similar to what the Writers Guild of America are asking for. First off is better wages. As you probably know, in this economy and in this day and age, it's becoming more and more difficult to buy essential living in order to afford the essentials of just living life in general. Housing has become extremely difficult to go and actually obtain for yourself. Buying groceries has been difficult too, especially with inflation. Now, I know inflation has gotten better recently, but still, though, it can still be quite a pain. It's kind of like COVID. It's like, it's better than how it was before, but it is still technically there. And even some of the other stuff that they have to pay, like bills and electricity and heating and air conditioning and all that kind of stuff, just to go and live, to have food and shelter, like it's becoming more and more expensive. So what they are demanding is to have better livable wages for actors along with the writers. And I know some people might be thinking, well, aren't actors like being given millions of dollars to show up in movies? Well, I mean, technically that is true, but they only represent a very small fraction of all the actors that are working within the industry, including representing only a small fraction of all the actors in SAG-AFTRA. I mean, not everyone is Timothée Chalamet. Like, there are some people who are still struggling despite the fact that they are a part of the union, and there are those that, you know, they just regularly make ends meet and their salary is no different than the working class. So that is one major aspect that they are demanding, is better wages. And then there is another factor that they are demanding, which is job security. And again, just like writers, they are threatened by AI because technology has significantly advanced, and there is that fear that AI would be advanced to the point that maybe they would end up replacing actors in movies and television. And they want to ensure that that does not happen. So they want to ensure that kind of job security where actual people will take higher priority instead of AI. Now, there was at one point that Hollywood studios proposed an idea of what they can do to implement AI onto movies and TV shows and stuff like that, and that is specifically regarding extras. And apparently their idea was that they would bring in a background actor and they would pay them for a full day of their service, and they would go and scan, I believe, either their face or their entire body. And what they would do with it is that they would be able to use the AI version of that background actor forever. The actor themselves do not get any residuals. They do not have any say of how their AI version of themselves would go and be used. They don't have, you know, they don't really get anything out of it. They only get that one pay for one day of their service, whereas the studios can use the AI version of the background actor forever, which you can imagine would definitely threaten their livelihoods. So in that regard, they want to go and ensure that security, that for all actors, big and small, that actual living humans will take priority instead of AI so that their livelihoods can be saved. And another demand that they want to go and do is that they want to go and stop studios from taking away streaming exclusive content. Now, you may have probably seen very recently in which certain studios, or specifically studios that do have streaming platforms such as Max, Disney Plus, Netflix, Paramount Plus, and more, that they would go and remove streaming exclusive content as a cost-saving maneuver, because you got companies like Warner Brothers and Disney that wants to go and find different ways to save billions of dollars. But the biggest consequence of that is that it unfortunately removes residuals for the people who were involved with those projects, that because they would remove those streaming exclusive content, there's literally nowhere else that you could go and actually find those things. Like, one great example is the one and only Ivan. Unfortunately, the one and only Ivan was one of those movies that Disney decided to go and remove from Disney Plus, despite the fact that, you know, it was decently well received and it did get an Oscar nomination. However, because it was a Disney Plus exclusive, there's literally nowhere else that you could go and find it. Disney is not going to go and put it on syndication on television or whatever, and they're not going to go and release a physical media version of it. Like, literally the only way nowadays that you could go and watch the one and only Ivan is through piracy. And that's it. And there are some people who do depend on those residuals money in order to go and make their living. So that is a massive problem that actors are also demanding for studios to go and stop. And I'm sure there are plenty of other reasons as well, but those are the main factors as to why the actors are on strike as well. Because in the current state right now, with how studios are managing streaming services and the current state of Hollywood per se, it's becoming harder and harder for these people to go and make a living off of what they would actually do. And the livelihoods of everyone, including the big name ones, are in danger because of what's going to happen with AI, with how it seems that studios seem to have a keen interest in AI and looking at it as a cost-saving maneuver, where instead of actually paying actual people, they'll let computers to go and do the job for them. Now, in that regard, you might be wondering at this point, okay, so now that we do know what the actors want, what are going to be some of the big consequences? Now that the actors are going to be on strike, are we going to see some consequences that will happen onto Hollywood? And to that, I will say yes. Like the consequence that we have seen from the writer's strike, they have been increased tenfold because now actors have joined the writers, which, by the way, is the first time that it has occurred ever since 1960. That was legit the last time that we have seen both actors and writers actually go on strike and actually hinder the current state of Hollywood. Because back then, believe it or not, it was actually a very similar story, because back in 1960, they were seeing the rise of television. And as Hollywood was trying to adapt to this new age of entertainment, the contracts do not seem to be aging along with it. So that's why they went on strike, to make sure that their demands can actually be met. But the biggest consequence in terms of what's going to happen now that both actors and writers are on strike, the biggest thing, or actually the long story short of it all, is that do you guys remember back in 2020? Do you remember how the pandemic hit Hollywood hard and how it left some pretty bad consequences? Yeah. Hollywood will be re-experiencing that again. It's going to be somewhere like that. And the first thing that is going to happen is that a lot of productions are going to be delayed. Now, there have been some that have been pushed back, or the production was put to a halt because they didn't have writers. But now with no actors, I would say almost every production out there is now put to an immediate halt, that they cannot do anything until the actors can get back to work. And this is especially the case for productions that are going to be for 2024 and 2025. And a lot of the big ones and very notable ones, such as Deadpool 3, The Wicked movie, Venom 3, the next Mission Impossible movie, and many more, right now, their operations have been put to a grinding halt. There is no progress that they can go on because there is no progress in terms of how the actors are. The actors aren't going to come into work, so now the sets are pretty much left abandoned. And by the way, I just want to state right now, yes, animation is also included on this. Animated movies and animated shows, they need actors in order to go and progress their story, because they need the actors to go and bring the projects to life, and so that the animators can actually have something to go and work with in the meantime, so that they can produce their animations, to do the proper lip syncs and all that kind of stuff. So the biggest thing that we are going to see is that in the case of the 2024 and the 2025 movies, we are going to see a whole lot of delays. For the longer that we will see the actors and the writers go on strike, the more likely that we're going to see a lot of anticipated movies that are going to be heavily pushed back. I don't know by how much. Maybe we'll see some be pushed back by a few months, or maybe there will be some that will be pushed back by a year, or maybe even more than a year. That could possibly happen. But again, it depends on how long this strike is going to be. But that's just a big warning that I want to go and give out right now, is that expect a lot of delays that are going to be happening in the following weeks to come, where again, the more the strike stays, the more likely that we will see a lot of big name movies that are going to be pushed back, because they don't really have any actors to work with, and the productions have no choice but to be delayed. Now, another consequence that is going to happen is the fact that all the actors now can no longer attend any major events. And there's a wide list of what they are no longer allowed to go into, especially if it's for the sake to go and promote whatever new projects that they are featured in. That means you will not see any celebrities in any red carpet premieres. You won't see them in conventions. You won't see them in press tours. You won't be seeing them in award shows. And you will not be seeing them. Oh, there's another one that honestly I kind of forgot. Let's see. Let me just recollect my memory. Let's see. Premieres, press tours, conventions, award shows, and anyways, I'll recollect my memory. If I do recall, I'll go and bring it up. But you do get what I mean. Like any big events that they would. Oh. Film festivals. Yes, they're not going to be attending any film festivals. So by this point, a lot of them are just going to be left abandoned. But I will say, though, that technically that doesn't necessarily mean that these big events are going to be canceled. They're just now going to be very awkward now without the celebrities. And we have already seen a big consequence of that during the weekend. Because the big thing that happened in the weekend is that at Disneyland, they were having the world premiere of the Haunted Mansion movie. Now, this was supposed to be a massive deal, especially when the film has a significant all-star cast. That they have people like Jamie Lee Curtis, Rosario Dawson, Tiffany Haddish, Danny DeVito, Owen Wilson, Lakeith Stanfield, and many more. And this was supposed to be a major event where you would see all these celebrities come together right next to the attraction that the ride is based on to go and see the movie. However, because of this strike, none of the actors ever showed up. So what did Disney do? Now, they couldn't really go and cancel it because, well, that would be a little bit too last minute. So what they decided to try out is that they would still have the red carpet event, but instead of any of the actors, they brought in the meet and greet characters. Like they would bring in Mickey and Minnie, they brought in Maleficent, they brought in the Evil Queen, they brought in the Cruella de Vil. Like basically, they turned that event into one of their typical Halloween parades, that they would just bring in the characters that you would meet every day, you would get their autographs and take their pictures, and apparently those are the replacements for the celebrities of the movie. Now, granted, I will say that there are some actual people who were there. Like, I do believe the director did attend the premiere, and there were one or a few people who worked in the, who actually created the ride back in the late 1960s, that they also attended the premiere. I believe Bob Gurr was there. But other than that, though, it pretty much became a ghost town, no pun intended. But I will say, though, that at least the mansion actually did have a premiere, which is probably more than I could say about the other movies that are coming up, in which they may not even have a premiere in the first place. Like, this has already screwed up the major events for the next summer movies that are coming out in August. These include, like, Paramount with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Then you got Warner Brothers, who is also screwed with Blue Beetle. And then you also got Universal, who is screwed with Strays. All these movies with big name stars. And now they can't really have their premiere because, well, none of the actors are going to go and show up. And this is just regarding the premieres. I didn't even talk about some of the other events. Like, I know coming this week, there's going to be the San Diego Comic-Con. And I can tell you right now, all those big events, all the stuff that are supposed to be like major announcements, a lot of them have to be canned because, well, the actors are not going to be there to hype up the project that they're in. Or even like, even the fall festivals, because there are some major ones that are coming up, like in Venice and in Toronto. I can guarantee you, they are panicking right now. Like, they are freaking out about the fact that there are no actors who are going to be showing up at the premiere. Like, they're no longer going to come in to turn it into a star-studded event. So again, that's going to be really awkward. And then there's also the Emmy Awards. I think the Emmys are going to be happening in September? And it's going to be pretty weird to see a big award show without any big name actors involved, especially when people would mostly keep an eye on who's going to be winning Best Actor and Best Actress and stuff like that. So yeah, honestly, it's just going to be a pretty awkward time during all those events. especially because of how the strike is going on. But the big question remains, though, how long is this strike going to last? How long are we going to see this strike occur? And I'm just going to go and say that, honestly, I don't necessarily have an initial answer, but really, the best I could say is just when the companies give up, when the studios decided that they will go and meet the demands of the actors and the writers. Because keep in mind, it's been 2.5 months now that the writer's strike has been going on, and only recently have the actors decided to go and join in. So it's really up to it's going to be up to the studios, to which they will go and ultimately decide if they're going to go and actually meet their demands, or they're going to keep on trying to ignore it. Because if they're going to try to go and do alternatives, like if they want to replace the actors and the writers with AI and stuff like that, oh boy, they will be facing the consequences. Because yes, I know that technology has really been advanced over the years, but I don't think it's advanced enough to go and convincingly replace actors and writers to go and create quality content. Like, I can guarantee you, they are going to suffer because of this. So honestly, it is possible that maybe this will only last like a week or two, or maybe this will last for like a few months even. But either way, all these events, like really, Hollywood will be suffering hard because of this, because they're going to have next to nothing in order to accumulate their revenue. Like they won't have much content to go and promote, to go and show. And from here on out, all these movies that are going to be coming out, including the ones in the fall, including like the ones in 2024 and 2025, yeah, they're going to be hit because of this. And all because studios refuse to go and meet the demands of writers and actors. And I'm just going to say right now that I stand in solidarity with both writers and with actors, that I do hope that their demands are going to be met, and that pretty soon that this thing will be over, and that the livelihoods of both writers and actors can definitely be secure. And I'm also speaking as a part-time actor as well, that I definitely, I'm totally siding with the actors on this. So I wish them all the best of luck. And no matter how long it takes, that you guys must fight. And the only time that you stop is when you win. All right, so with that said and done, I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall. And I would like to ask you all, how do you feel about the actor strike? What extra comments would you like to go and give out on this entire situation? Let me know what you think. Okay, let's see. This is definitely going to be the biggest story of 2023. Now we are seeing the WGA striking to live their lives, but also SAG at the same time. This hasn't happened in a very long time, and honestly, good. I'm glad the actors and writers are doing this together. AI has been nothing but a terrible influence to society, unfortunately. All I can say is I wish them luck. I did help out with the WGA writers weeks ago, and I'll do it again soon. All right. Let's see. I'm just going to get right into it. SAG-AFTRA has my full support, especially in fixing the wage issue. Did you see that TikTok by Kimiko Glenn? Apparently for Orange is the New Black, she would get paid as high as 4 cents for one episode, with a total of $27 for the whole show. That is next level asinine. And probably you're referring to the residuals, which, yeah, I can understand. All in all, if Hollywood is going to end this strike, they need to go beyond offering the actors bubblegum and Bennigan's coupons. If you get that reference, you get a cookie. Oh, crap. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll get a cookie because, man, I don't know what that reference is. It's like, I think I've heard of this, but I'm not sure. It's like, it's not clicking in my head. Let's see now. Let's see. The most disturbing thing about the strike is not that the actors and writers are demanding of fair deals, but it's the way how Hollywood executives are reacting, like Bob Iger calling it disturbing and not being fair, while the actors' pay are being decreased every year while the CEOs increase. And with the way they want to drag the strike until Christmas, when they want them to go homeless, Let's just hope they get fair deals sooner than later. What would be funny if they pull an Ocean's 8 heist? Okay, I'm just gonna say right now, I'm not gonna go and immediately comment on that. I will be talking about this, however. Just stay tuned for it. All right, let's see. So I actually met a SAG-AFTRA actress in my senior seminar art class. I am not in California, and neither is the actress. She is part of the guild, but she is not a millionaire or a rich person. She came to my class to talk about money management. So yeah, being an actor and SAG does not guarantee being well off. Honestly, these strikes are becoming more and more beautiful with people. The Animation Guild will be interesting if they're in their contract next year. I hope these strikes succeed. Exactly. And like I said, when it comes to actors, like, it's not like the only two groups are the rich and famous celebrities and like the struggling actor having a hard time to make ends meet. There are those people that are in the middle that, they would have a decent wage that can be comparable to the working class. And being an actor, like, it doesn't guarantee that you would become like massively successful. I mean, that's kind of the reason why I'm still making videos on YouTube, because when it comes to acting, like, I have yet to even make it on the levels of like, oh, I'm making good money on it, or like I'm making a decent wage. So like it's still massively hard work, it is still like something in which you are running a small business. So that's something important to go and keep in mind. Let's see what we got here. Screw billionaires. All my homies hate billionaires. Actors, writers, animators, and many more can barely make a living in the modern era. And when they finally ask for better pay, rights, and safety, people like Bob Iger dare to call their expectations unrealistic. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that getting paid 400 to 1, flying private jets, and being a billionaire retreats is very realistic. I proudly stand with the protesters. If they could win their rights in the 1960s, they can win again. Oh, absolutely. Honestly, like, the only outcome that I could see is just the actors and writers winning. There's no way that the Hollywood studios are going to take the W on this one. All right, I think I'm going to read one more comment before we go on to our next break. Let's see. First off, it's really too bad that strike rights are totally ensnared by corporations, especially in the States. Even in Canada, strike rights are more prominent. Correct me if I'm wrong. I fully support the actions by the SAG-AFTRA and the WGA, hoping the big studios will give in to their demands and not bleed them dry like some executives have pointed out. Like the 1927 movie Metropolis, you can't have a functioning industry without mediation. I offered you that one a few years back.